Dave, I feel like this woman's never satisfied. No matter what I do, no matter how many flowers I bring home, no matter how many trinkets I buy her, no matter how many trips I take her on, she's never satisfied. So listen, I'm a coach, and I hear that from men all the time. They cannot figure out how to please the women in their lives. And they assume that it's things and trips and trinkets that are going to please the women, and it has nothing to do with that. So if you're a man who has said that or felt that, you're in the right place. Go grab your coffee, tea, grab your notebook, meet me right back here so I can give you permission to think differently. Let's go. Hey guys, my name is David Burris. I'm a marriage coach, and I'm excited about this opportunity to share with you. I hope that the men who are watching are ready to have their paradigm shifted, their mind blown. I'm going to give you some things today that are going to really help you understand how to show up for the woman in your life, or the women in your life, your mother, your sister, your daughter, your lover. This is going to be very informative. It feels like she's never satisfied, and you don't understand what you have to do to please the woman in your life. I have felt like that, man. I've been married 21 years. In the first few years of our marriage, I can recall feeling like, man, I just cannot please this woman. No matter what I did, it didn't feel like it was enough. And I found myself frustrated. I found myself tired. I found myself complaining a lot. And I just couldn't understand what it was. And then God told me and showed me what I need to do to level up. And man, I made the shift. I made the transition. And it has been so much better ever since. So I'm going to teach you today what you have to do if you're going to please the woman in your life, and what it's going to take to love her beyond gifts or things or trips. So we're going to start by looking at Ephesians chapter 5. We're going to look at verse 25. And it says, "Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church." Here it is. "And gave himself up for her." Let's just start there. So the first thing I need you to hear before we move any further, and I'm going to give you 5 things you need to know, and five reasons why it feels like she's never satisfied. But before I do that, I just need you to first hear this, that in order to really comprehend what I'm about to say, you have to lose your mind. What do I mean by that? I mean, you have to lose the idea or notion that you know what you're doing, because what you're doing is not working, right? And so you need a new way of thinking. You need a paradigm shift. And I'm going to share that with you right now. And you're going to have to really stretch yourself to hear me, to understand me, and to comprehend what I'm about to say, because it's really contrary to what we as men have been taught to believe. All right. So I'm going to share with you 5 ways. Here it is. Emotional connection strengthens a wife or a woman in a relationship. 5 ways that emotional connection strengthens a wife or woman in a relationship. The thing that she's wanting from you is an emotional connection. And the reason why it feels like all of the things never seem to be working is because it's not things that she needs. She can get her own things. She can buy her own flowers. She can take herself on her own trip. I'm sure she's grateful, and I'm sure she's appreciative. But what she really wants is the thing that no other man can give her the way you can, and that is an emotional connection to her person. There's something that happens when they have this connection with us. It really soothes them. It calms their fears. It gives them almost a bridge whereby they can cross back and forth from our heart to theirs. And if they don't have that bridge, man, we feel like mystery men to them. Let me say that again. When they don't have that emotional connection, when we're non-communicative, when we shut down every time we feel something, when we don't communicate what we feel, it feels like they're in a relationship with mystery man. And so I want to unpack for you 5 things you need to know about emotional connection. Here's the first thing I need you to know. An emotional connection, it builds trust and it builds security. Write that down. First thing I need you to know is it builds trust, it builds security. Here's why. Emotional connection reassures your wife that she's valued and understood. When her husband or her man, if you're not married to her, when you listen, when you share, when you engage emotionally, it fosters a sense of safety and it really creates a trust in the relationship. And so the first thing I need you to hear and understand is she needs the connection to feel safe, to feel secure. Women feel insecure when they don't have an emotional connection to the men in their lives. Again, because that emotional connection builds a bridge. Let me just say it this way. One of the reasons why she makes up things and she assumes things about you, things that you didn't say, things that you don't think, things that you didn't do, is because you haven't given her enough information to feed her emotions, to feed her feelings, and to feed her notions. And so what you and I have to learn how to do is communicate, to express, to emote, so that we can build trust and security. She doesn't want to, my wife used to ask me, why don't I ever see you cry? You never cry in front of me, right? And what I found out is that she doesn't necessarily want to see me cry. Your woman doesn't want to see you cry. But what she wants to know is that there's a man in there that can feel. And here's why that's important. Because they are 100% feelings. They are 100% emotions. They feel every little thing. And if they don't have a man who can feel anything, or at least express that he feels anything, she feels like she has no commonality with you. So the first thing I want you to hear is that your emotional connection with her, it builds trust. She doesn't want things. She doesn't want flowers. She wants to be able to trust that the man that she is with has a feeling or feelings inside that she can connect to and relate with. All right, let's talk about number 2. First thing is that it builds trust. It builds security. Let's talk about the second thing that emotional connection does for your woman. It really strengthens intimacy. It strengthens intimacy. And when I say intimacy, I don't want you to hear sex. Sex is the physical outward expression of intimacy, but intimacy is really us connecting on a deeper level inwardly. A deep emotional bond lays the foundation for physical and spiritual intimacy. Let me repeat that. A deep emotional bond lays the foundation for physical and spiritual intimacy. So now, when you have an emotional connection, it's like building a house on that. This is the strongest connection you can build a house on. And when the emotional connection is weak, the entire house is weak. Part of why it feels like your marriage, your relationship is weak at times is because it's not really built on a strong emotional foundation. It's built on sex. It's built on trips. It's built on houses, it's built on cars, it's built on things, it's built on rings, it's built on trinkets, it's built on showing off for the gram, but it's not built on emotional connection. And you cannot expect anything that has a faulty foundation to stand firm under a storm. That's why when storms hit your relationship, storms hit your marriage, it shakes y'all to the core because you don't have anything rooted to stand on. So the second thing I need you to hear is that your emotional connection with her, it builds and it strengthens intimacy. All right, here's the third thing I need you to hear. This is key and it's valuable and it's rich. And if you really grasp this, man, it's going to change the game for you. That emotional connection, it affirms her worth. Wow. It affirms her worth. Emotional connection communicates to a wife or your woman that her thoughts, that her feelings, that her needs, that her desires, they matter. When you are connected emotionally, what you're telling her is, man, you know what, you matter to me. And let me tell you why that's critical. We as men are built differently than the women we're in relationship with. We're just built differently. The women that we're in relationship with, your wife, your lover, your mother, your daughter, your sister, she feels emotions all day long. She's thinking about her son, her daughter, her brother, her sister, her mother, you. She's thinking about her coworker. She feels emotions all day long. Whereas we as men, we have an emotional compartment. We have a work compartment. We have a sex compartment. We have a hobby compartment. We have a sports compartment. We have a friend compartment. We have all of these compartments. Challenge is that we're trying to connect with them without opening our emotional compartment, primarily because that is in many cases the most frightening department because we don't spend enough time in that room. I want you to hear that. We're afraid of our emotions because we don't spend enough time in the room. The problem with that is our emotions connect us to the women who we're in relationship with. And so when we are emotionally connected, it affirms the women. It affirms their worth. It really speaks to their value. This affirmation of worth encourages her to feel loved and respected. So a part of why it feels like you can't meet her need is because she doesn't feel affirmed by you. She doesn't feel affirmed by you because she doesn't feel this emotional connection with you, and she doesn't feel the connection because you hide from your emotions. All right, guys, I hope this is helping you so far. By the way, I want you to stick around until the end of this. I'm going to share with you some ways that you can level up in your emotions. I know that can be a scary thing sometimes. I know at times we don't do it because we don't have the tools or the strategy to do it. But I'm going to share with you at the end how you can level up in your emotions so that you can have a deeper connection with the woman you love, so that she can feel more valued, more appreciated, more affirmed, so that you can have more peace in your relationship, so that you can feel like you have a place in the relationship. What I hope you hear is that a great deal of what you are missing in your relationship, it really starts with you and how you show up. What I also want you to hear is that I'm fully aware that we haven't been taught how to do this. And so I'm going to show you and share with you how you can level up in your connection with your woman, and how you can level up in your emotional connection, even with yourself. So I want you to stick around until the end of that. But let's recap. Number one, that emotional connection, it builds trust and security. Number two, remember, we talked about that emotional connection strengthens intimacy. Third thing I want you to hear is that emotional connection, it affirms her worth. She feels worthy. She feels valued. She feels valuable when she feels that emotional connection with you. Let's talk about number four. I just have 5 to give you. Man, we're almost done. Number 4, listen to this. That emotional connection creates a partnership. It creates a partnership. When you have that emotional connection with her, she feels like she's a partner with you. Now, the flip side to that is if you don't have that emotional connection, she feels like she feels like a roommate. You feel like roommates, or you feel like buddies, but you don't feel like a partnership. It feels like you're moving in 2 different directions and you always struggling and fighting to get on the same page. That's because you don't have that emotional connection. Sharing emotions and thoughts makes her feel like a teammate rather than someone going through life alone. Let me say that again. When you share your emotions with her, when she shares hers with you, when you all share thoughts, it makes her feel like a teammate rather than someone she's just going through life with, or even going through life alone. Now, you don't necessarily need that, because for all intents and purposes, you don't need an emotional connection to feel like a team, because for most men, you and I, fellas, we're motivated by progress. We are motivated by victory. We are goal driven, if you want to say it that way. And they are not necessarily goal driven. They're driven by what they feel, right? And so they don't feel like partners with us because we have goals in mind. And for all intents and purposes, we're meeting the goals, right? You want to buy a house for your family because you wanted them to feel secure. You want her to have a new car because you want her to feel safe, right? You want the kids to have a good school to go to, so you move them to a certain community. And all of those are great, but it doesn't give her what she needs. What she really needs from you is a partnership, and that partnership starts with your emotional connection. And when you and I run from our emotions, when we fear our emotions, we are running from and disconnecting from the partnership that God prescribed for you and her. Gotta have a partnership, man. But you can't have a full partnership if you hide from your emotions. All right, here's number 5, man. And I'm going to preface this 5th one by sharing that one of my closest friends, when we were younger, we were younger in marriage, he said to me, Dave, your responsibility is to lighten your wife's load. I come from a single parent home, so I didn't know what it looked like to be a husband. Didn't know how to show up for her. Didn't know how to meet her need. He said, well, let's just start here. Your responsibility is to lighten her load. And so my job every day as I wake up is to really work diligently to make sure that I lighten her load. Now, I don't have time to go into detail about that and what that looks like, but man, that's a whole nother teaching. That's a whole nother conversation. But number 5 speaks to that. Number 5, when you have an emotional connection with the woman in your life, it reduces stress and anxiety for her. You reduce her stress level. You reduce her anxiety. You lighten her load when you have that emotional connection. Why is that? Because an emotional connected husband provides a safe space where a wife can express her concerns without fear of judgment. When you connect with her emotionally, she feels safe enough to express her feelings, to express her needs, to express her desires without fearing that you're going to judge her, without fearing that you're going to shut her down. And what does this do? This alleviates stress. It enhances her emotional well-being. It strengthens the relationship. It gives her a safe place to land. But when you don't do that, it heightens stress, heightens anxiety. One of the things that I've learned about my wife is that she just needs someone she can talk to, someone she can vent to. And when you have a real good wife, she's not out talking to just everybody about her heart. She's not out talking about just anybody about what's going on with her. God sent you into that woman's life for her to have a safe place for her to land. And if you are shutting down emotionally, man, you're not giving her an opportunity to be all she can be, because she needs you to be all she can be. She needs you to be available emotionally so that she can be expressive emotionally. And what does that do? That reduces stress and that reduces anxiety. All right, guys, let's recap. I just shared with you 5 reasons why an emotional connection really aids your wife, why it really strengthens your relationship. Number 1, it builds trust and security. It absolutely does. When you are emotionally available, when you two have an emotional connection, it builds trust, it builds security. Number 2, it really strengthens intimacy. You all can go deeper together because she has access to the deeper things of your heart. Number 3, it affirms your worth. It affirms her worth, rather. It helps her feel like she's worthy and valuable to her person. Number 4, it really creates a partnership. When you show up for her this way, you have this partnership with her that is unshakable. It's immovable. And then the 5th thing I want you to hear and understand is that it reduces stress and anxiety. She stresses less. She is less anxious. Hear me. Come closer. I said she stresses less. She's less anxious. That's what you always wanted. You're tired of her being so uptight. You're tired of her being so stressed out. And so a part of that is giving her the place to emote and to express. I'm telling you, man, when you show up for that woman that way, it changes things. It lightens her load, and it ultimately lightens the load of the relationship because neither of you have stress based on the relationship itself. Now we can go fight the world together because we're not fighting against each other or stressing about what we have here. Listen, if this was helpful, I want you to comment below and let me know which of these 5 spoke loudest to you. And which of them do you say, you know what, Dave, I could really level up on number 2. I can level up on number 4, right? I want to hear from you. Now, gentlemen, the reality is that most of us don't know how to do this. We just don't. Nobody taught us. They sent us out into the world. They said, now go make a family, go have children, but they never taught us how to relate to the women in our lives. They just didn't teach us. And so what I realize is that, man, when men are healthy, households are healthy. And when households are healthy, communities are healthy. And what I found out, man, is when communities are healthy, that makes for a healthy world. So what I need for you to do is be a healthy man emotionally. That's why on January 6th, I'm launching the first cohort of what I call husband school. And for 8 weeks, I'm going to walk a handful of men through a process of becoming emotionally intelligent husbands. Now, if you're single and you want to be a husband one day, if you are engaged and you're ready to be a husband, or if you're a husband right now and you need to learn how to be this man so that you can better relate to the woman in your life because nobody taught you how to do it, man, you need to be in that class. Listen, what it's going to do is give you some wisdom, some strategy. I'm literally going to give you the blueprint, step by step, on how to show up for yourself emotionally so that you can show up for her emotionally. And what is that going to do? That's going to give you more peace. It's going to give you more joy in the relationship. It's going to help you better understand you. You're going to start understanding why some of the things in your life are happening because you're going to become more in tune with yourself. I'm going to really help you go within and find out who you are, help you discover your own feelings. And what that's going to do is connect you to the woman that you're with, or if you're single and or engaged, the woman that you're about to be one with. All right. So Husband School is coming. I'm excited. Enrollment opens now. I've made it super affordable and super easy to get plugged in. We're going to meet on Tuesday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 Central, 8 Eastern on Zoom. It's as simple as clicking the link below, signing up. Listen, for limited time, and I don't know by the time you watch this if the offer's up, but for a limited time, if you use the coupon code HUSBAND, you're going to get a $200 discount. $200 discount. So listen, it's going to be transformative. I cannot wait to see you in Husband School. I want you, again, comment below. Let me know what spoke loudest to you. My name is David Burris, y'all, and I give you permission to think differently. Let's go.